Mostly, hasn't it? Like 90% of it. 90% of my problem is live streaming. Oh, yes. Epstein files. People are pissed. Kiss my grits and suck my ding dong. That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. It's the Epstein files. Piss in your pants. That's the way you go when you have a dance. It's the Epstein files. Mossad agent sucking my butthole, Jeffrey. Yeah. Oh, that's night two righteous. What'd you do? What's up, America? How's everybody doing? Andrew, how you doing, RK? How's everybody doing? We've got a little news to read, and then, of course, there's the old Epstein files, which I'm sure everybody's about sick of hearing about, but that's been going on quite a bit. What's up, America? How you doing, Ziggy? How you doing, Chandel? I'll just call it that. Sorry about that there. What's up, Mabel Cat? We've got some news to talk about. The price is wrong, bitch. Indiana. Bad traffic and shitty roads, as always. So we've got some news. What's up, Meek Mike? What's up, Virginia? We've got a decent amount of news to read. We've got Epstein files to talk about. Maybe tomorrow I'll go over my government again. I don't have time for that tonight. My wife is looking too attractive. That was, what was it, 51 here? It was 51? Huh? Oh, it was 55. No shit. So heat wave, hell yeah, Mabel Cat. So let's just get into the news. I was going to do some kind of like allegory at the beginning. Maybe I'll do that later on. Felt great, though. I got to tell you, absolutely, my friend. Absolutely. Did you punch the shit out of somebody? Maybe they deserved it. So today, February 10th.
He said he found his father-in-law.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe must have had it coming then. It is a father-in-law after all, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, at least you and my mother didn't get in a fight. So, well, not in a long time. Anyway. Ah, very nice, my friend. Very nice. What's up, America? How you doing? So today, February 10th, 2026, a Tuesday. Key developments in the United States include long ongoing investigation into the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, mother of Savannah Guthrie, NBC anchor. The FBI released surveillance images of an armed suspect seen on a ring cam in Tucson, Arizona. No suspects identified. People calling it creepy as shit. Potential subjects seen on the door camera. The search entered its 10th day amid a passing ransom deadline of $6 million in Bitcoin, which I don't know why you'd want that if the bottom is falling out of it. Anyway, immigration officials defend the Trump administration's mass deportation effort during congressional hearings, deflecting questions on the deaths of 2 U.S. citizens in Minneapolis. Also, a congressional hearing with the heads of telecommunications companies about... What's up, Nana? How you doing? Today there was a congressional hearing with the heads of telecommunications companies, and only AT&T did not provide Congress and senators information. They're the only ones that investigated it. Every other one gave it right over to the Democrats. Every single other one. So T-Mobile, Verizon, a couple others did that. What's up, Callie Gal? So apparently, even though I can't stand AT&T, they're the ones that give a shit about your privacy most. So that's absolutely weird as fuck, because I always hated AT&T. Of course, unredacted Jeffrey Epstein files were made available to top lawmakers, sparking scrutiny of figures like Howard Lutnick and potential DOJ involvement. Also, what's up, America? How you doing, Quadruple D? Also, as you know, Lex Wessner has been identified as a co-conspirator with Jeffrey Epstein. There are 6 co-conspirators. A couple have been mentioned by Thomas Massie. A couple other Democrats and Republicans have seen the files, also pointing to sex trafficking in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, or was it Oman? Not Oman. The other fucking one, Bahrain, whatever it was. So I'll get into those coming up here because that's pretty sick right there. So there are actually people to go after, despite what the Department of Justice has been saying. Oh, hell yeah, Nana. Thank you. There hasn't been, the news has been all over the place, and there's still some more I got to get to. I know I made too many today, but Dubai. What's up? What? Oh, Dubai. Thank you. Thank you, Cali Gal. United Arab Emirates. Thank you, my friend. So that's happening right now. Federal judge acknowledged an abusive workplace in a court order involving U.S. District Judge Lydia Key Gigsby. A mask ban debate. DHS funding deadline approaches on Friday. And pregnant woman rescued from a sinking car in Florida gives birth. United States military kills 2 in a drug boat strike in the Eastern Pacific Ocean. Just because he likes New York doesn't mean... Yeah, I don't live in New York. Sorry, that's just a picture. In other news for North America, something quite stupid in a way, but whatever. President Donald Trump is threatened to block the opening of the Gordie Howe International Bridge connecting Detroit to Windsor, Ontario, demanding Canada cede half the ownership and compensate the United States for trade imbalances. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney clarified Canada's fully funded the bridge, but shares ownership with Michigan. Talks continue amid the USMCA. That's kind of fucked up. I've seen the Gordie Howe Bridge. Looks very nice. Can't wait to drive over if it'll fucking open. And the U.S. Senator introduced the USMCA Travel and Tourism Resiliency Act to boost cooperation with Canada and Mexico. So that means tourism back and forth, very nice. Buy cum, rocket, coin, yeah. And then Cuba is almost out of fuel. So Cuba runs out of gas, basically. They've been cut off from Venezuelan oil. Russia and Iran are not sending oil. And it looks like people are burning garbage in the streets for light. So coming up here, it looks like fuel for cars. Hardcore punk, depends on what it is. If it's the Exploited, or if it's... I always like Dead Kennedys, of course. MXPX was stupid as fuck. Black Flag, The Exploited was fantastic. Rancid had its place, don't get me wrong. And I think the Misfits are overrated. That's my answer to that. Except for the last Caress song. Gigi Allen was a king in his own right. Gigi Allen was a king in his own right, buried in a jock strap, used to shove bananas up his ass and throw them at the crowd. And piss on people. That's real. That's fucking real. And I've seen Sloppy Seconds about 7 times in concert. That's a long, long time ago. What say you about punk rock, my friend? Anyway, so Cuba's running out of gas. Looks like, what's up, Dave? Looks like that at some point American imperialism will come to, quote, save the day. And this is a joint with a bunch of concentrate in it. There it is. So in Trump news today, Donald Trump voiced opposition to Israel's West Bank control. Here you go, baby. He threatened Iran with something very tough. The fucking Sex Pistols. If demands on nuclear and missile programs are not met amid Oman-mediated talks. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt with the lips, which is really weird. Just throwing that out there. Declined to confirm if Trump, I spit out my mouth, called the Palm Beach sheriff about Epstein in 2006. Punk rock girl. And then there's Avril Lavigne. So does everybody know about the Palm Beach police? Can I guys stop bombing us? Well, why don't you ask our leaders? Do I look like I'm in charge of shit? I'm in charge of 2 things, Jack and shit. So that's what it is. You don't like it? Go contact the White House. They have a contact website, but they're not going to listen to you either. So no, we're not bombing Algeria. Yeah, we're not. Hold on a second. You're Algerian, okay? So are you in Algiers, or are you in what's the other one called? Tamanrasset? Yeah, I know your fucking country. Detroit called 17 dead, and I've noticed since the beginning of the second Trump administration, the scene has been doing really well. That's because people want a resistance. And when people want to fucking take out the government, it'll start doing better. So it looks like things will be going quite well coming up here in the next couple of years. Louisiana, Donald Trump hosted Honduran President Osfor at Mar-a-Lago, praising security ties. Louisiana delegation urged Trump for more winter storm recovery funds, and Texas Governor Abbott split with Trump on nationalizing elections. Trump backed off Greenland's threat but continued microaggression, insulting Europe. I like to insult Europe from time to time myself, but that's because Keir Starmer's a punk-ass bitch. And I believe associated with child molesters. So I can't stand Keir Starmer. Whether you're fucking Labor, whether you're Tory, whether you're left or right, Keir Starmer's a punk-ass bitch. And I believe he's a fucking pedo. So that's my opinion on that. Let's see what else we have here. We have some evidence that Donald Trump may have called the Palm Beach Sheriff's Department in 2006 about Epstein, but that's a gray area once again because of the redactions. So if it's proved that he didn't do shit, then he might be considered a child fucker or eater. If he did, then good on him, I guess. Oh, hell yeah, Dave. Very nice. Very nice. I just took some, as a matter of fact. So now news down in South America. Chile has launched its first open source AI model trained on Latin American culture to enhance regional representation in global AI. Venezuela rearrested opposition figure Juan Pablo Guanipa hours after release amid tight leash on freed leaders. Wildfires in Argentina drew criticism of President Milei. It's a union gear for labor reform clash. Hey, maybe the United States should help that, right? Brazil's lower house signaled support for ending the 6-by-1 work week. 6-day work week? Fuck that. I'm all for a 4-day work week, in my opinion, worldwide. Telefonica sold its Chile unit for $1.2 billion, exiting Latin America, and Cuba's fuel crisis, here you go, honey, hits Canadian tourism. Russia has warned of critical medicine and food shortages in Cuba, and China's EV market grow in South America while Europe slowed. By the way, Canada will be allowing cheap Chinese EVs in the cars or in the country. So if you want to get a cheap electric vehicle, you can get a Canadian one coming through China. That'll be coming up in probably a year or two. News in Africa. The United States plans to send 200 troops to Nigeria for training against ISIS. Here you go, honey. Weeks after strikes on ISIS targets. Ethiopia allegedly hosts a secret RSF training camp for Sudanese rebels. South Sudan and Somalia ranked as the most corrupt in international indexes. U.S. lawmakers demanded answers on CDC-funded hepatitis B vaccine trials in Guinea-Bissau. Detroit, I will say this, though. I knew, I should say, I don't know if they're still there. I knew of a hotel where ICE was staying in Indianapolis. Here you go. I can't remember. Where was that? Do you even remember?
Marriott or something.
Is it the big one?
Yes.
Of course, they get the fucking nice one.
I saw something a couple days later that said that there were rumors about ICE staying there, but really it was government people preparing what they were going to do with the winter storm. So I don't fucking know.
That sounds, yeah, I bet that's nice. Anyway, nevertheless, so there's some questions about hepatitis B vaccine trials in Guinea-Bissau. Heavy hail has hit South Africa. Forensic investigators testified in an SAPS South Africa probe. And Trump's ally Eric Prince, here you go, aided Congo's army with drones. Kenya cracked down on Russian requirements for Ukraine war, and it looks like Africa, this is matcha powder, and it looks like Africa is still the poverty-stricken resource bucket of the Western world, which is unfortunate. Those companies know what they're doing. Robbing people, that is. Europe's news, EU foreign policy chief Kaja Kallas proposed concessions Europe should demand from Russia and Ukraine peace, emphasizing Europe's agreement needed. Ukraine opened drone exports to Europe. Zelensky discussed air defense changes. Lithuania held security drills. Russia ready for Macron dialogue. I highly doubt that. EU aligned on Sudan sanctions. Von der Leyen, whatever her name is a piece of shit, called for deeper single market. Cyberbullying action rolled out in France. And Latvia joins the UNSC in 2026. Asia news. Asia stock markets hit record highs, along with the United States hitting record highs. I'm not actually sure during Obama. I'd have to get that information for you. I don't have it in front of me.
It was okay then, though, because it was Obama.
Yeah, it was okay then because it was Obama, right? Yeah. China urged banks to curb U.S. Treasury exposure and stop buying debt. I don't blame them. And Trump has imposed a 25% tariff on Mexico and Canada, 10% on China over immigration and fentanyl. Delayed by 1 month, the Nikkei hit a record at 57,665 as SoftBank surged 11%. North Korea may unveil new missiles, and South Korea blamed Kopang data leak on management. Jimmy Jai sentenced to 20 years in a Hong Kong prison. And APAC China year themes prosper together. Pakistan ended India's boycott for T20 match. So at least they're getting along in that aspect. I would like to see India and Pakistan not killing each other. Now, news with Iran. Trump threatens Iran with something very tough if demands are unmet, hinted at backing off strikes during the Netanyahu meeting. Netanyahu says that he will act alone if the United States does not, and if Iran crosses a ballistic missile red line. So the United States is not going to let Israel act alone. We already know that. So one way or another, tomorrow, Benjamin Netanyahu is meeting Donald Trump once again at the White House. They've been basically sucking each other off this whole presidency. And I have a feeling that Bibi and Donald Trump are going to be working together to put a plan up to attack Iran. I personally am in for, I'm personally happy with this because I think the Iranian government's a murderous, raping pile of shit. The Ayatollah Khomeini is the one that said, be sure to rape female prisoners before you kill them so they won't go to heaven. Fuck the Iranian government. They could suck my dick backwards so their nose is in my asshole. Because they rape women to death. They've been shooting young girls. That's what they've been targeting. I've seen the bodies. I've showed you the bodies here. Fuck these pieces of shit. So fuck the Iranian government. I have absolutely no sympathy whatsoever unless the civilians are hurt. Iran has expanded its ballistic missile arsenal, replenishing stocks, which of course the Israeli government says will fuck you up if you do that. Unusual activity at nuclear sites, and the IRGC hinted at surprises for the U.S. carriers. Trump considered second carrier in the Middle East. And as you know, the Iranian government has a non-exploded Tomahawk missile. So that might be what they're talking about. Maybe they reversed engineered one of those with a dirty bomb on it or some bullshit. Whatever the situation is, it needs to get on with it because it's going to cost us a lot of money just to sit out there. And so if we're going to go after these fucking assholes, then let's do it. If not, quit threatening. Saber rattling doesn't work anymore. Either pull the dick out or put it away and drive home. One of the two, okay? It's time. We've been sitting here jerking this off for long enough. I think it's time to move forward. Normally, I'm not a fan of blowing up countries, but these pieces of shit have earned it. Same with Boko Haram or any of those other asshole terrorist groups. These fuckers right here have terrorist organization in Yemen propped up by them, and that group starves its own people. That's where you see the stick children. So fuck these assholes. I hope the Iranian government all dies. Ukrainian war news. By the way, they're executing people now. So Donald Trump said that executing a bunch of them would be the red line. Apparently it's not, because they're executing a bunch of fucking people. They're using cranes again, murdering people in hospitals. Have fun. North Korea. North Korea is feared not because they're North Korea, but because they're backed by China. If you want to control North Korea, China has to be the ones to do that. If you ask me, I would like to see an end to the concentration camps, and I would like to open up North Korea with peaceful trade and allow tourism, but they would have to quit being a repressive fuck. Now, the problem with North Korea is, for a while, when Kim Jong-un took over, you had a window where Kim Jong-un would have welcomed quasi-Western peace and maybe even not as repressive. But ever since Biden came and hardened his stance, so Trump softened the stance, and his behavior towards his own people were softer. When Biden came in, Biden took a strong stance against North Korea, and North Korea took a strong stance against us. Donald Trump hasn't said very much about Rocket Man recently. So I would like to see North Korea and the United States come together. But I would tell them, look, I would like to have hotels and fucking grocery stores and business and all this, resorts in North Korea. I'm fine with that. But if we want to do business, you got to stop your concentration camps. So that would be the same with Cuba. Exactly. So I would like to, like Cuba, I would like to say, okay, you're out of oil. North Korea, your people are starving. Cuba, your people are out of oil. You fuckfaces can stay in power, but you got to lose the repression and the iron fist. You got to stop killing people, killing families, punishing a mother because the child did something. Get rid of the concentration camps, none of that horse shit. And then because that will weaken, what's up, Marine? That'll weaken the ties with China. But we don't need to see these people as adversarial. It's like with China. Same with Russia. We don't have to see these people as adversarial. We just have to ensure that killing innocent people is not the order of the day. Once you can stop doing that, we can work with anybody. You know what I'm saying? Well, there's Israel too, and I've made my position on that on earlier live streams very apparent. If you know what I'm saying. So I think I've already made my position on that. Anyway, I don't want to give them much more money. That's basically what I'm saying here. But everybody's got to start killing everybody, or stop killing everybody. Now, one of the things, if you are protesting for Palestine, then you have to be protesting for the dead protesters in Iran. They've lost nearly as many people as in Palestine in a couple of weeks. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If you can protest to free Palestine, then you can protest to free Iran. But you won't, because somehow Iran's a Republican talking point and Palestine's a liberal talking point. I'm not exactly sure how that happened. Is it because Trump supported Iran and not Palestine? Is that what it is? So because one orange guy supports something and you don't, then all of a sudden now you have to go against it. Now Iran's the god, or is it because you hate Israel so much you want to use Iran as a proxy to murder all of them with a nuclear weapon? There it is. That's what it is right there. Yes, they did actually. And not only that, but Pakistan has killed a lot of people. You know what else? There's been a bunch of murder is Bangladesh and Cambodia. That's a lot there too. Yeah. So I've seen a lot of people like because Donald Trump supports or doesn't support something. So like Donald Trump will say, I support Iran being free. And so 75,000 people are like, well, I'm against it. I'm like, why would you be against that? Well, free Palestine. Well, that's basically the same thing over here. Replace Israel with Ayatollah Khomeini. Replace Iran's innocent people with Palestinians, and we have a ball game, right? So that's all you have to do, and it's very easy to put that together. A lot of people don't do that. They say, well, no. Well, what you don't want is you don't want the United States to install a leader, is what you want to say. None of you know how to say that. You say, well, free Palestine to fuck Iran. No, you're for women's rights and people being free in Iran because you say that. What you don't want is an American or Western installed government. But if you do it, you might have a more repressive Islamic regime. But you don't want to say that because that might be offensive. Even though it's not. What's up, America? That's okay. The duality of man, correct? And that's what everybody needs to learn, is you can't have it one way, right? This is what everybody thinks. They keep saying you can't have it both ways. In geopolitics, it always is both ways. So no, in geopolitics, you can't have it one way. It's the exact opposite. There is no, so if I say I support Israel and I support them taking out the terrorists, which I do, but then 70,000 people get murdered and you say, oh, that's just okay. Well, that's not okay either. But according to politics, it has to be one or the other. You can do both things. You can support Israel and have sympathy for the dead, saying it's sloppy, but Netanyahu wanted to kill all of them and turn it into sand. Let's be honest. I'm almost certain that Netanyahu, after the October 7th attack, met with his people and said, I want it completely destroyed and wiped out. I don't want a building to stand. I guarantee he said that. And they proceeded to do just that. Now they're going to take it over and turn it over to the West, who, Tony Blair, by the way, which is going to help facilitate that, was in a child fucking orgy. So there you go. Have fun chewing on that one. Nevertheless, let's continue. Then if you say, well, I want to support the Iranian people to be free, but I also want to blow up the Iranian government. You can do that and still want to not support Israel. Let me ask you this question. You don't hate Israel, you hate the government. So the individual people that are in Israel, little people walking around, do you really want to kill all of them? Or do you just want their government to be different so it won't kill everybody? Or it's the same with Iran. Do you want to kill a bunch of people, or do you just want to take out the fuck faces doing the bad shit? Because I can't fathom many of you saying, well, yeah, I just want to kill everybody, a whole group of people. I can't fathom any of you actually being cool with that. What's up, Nico? So I'm assuming a good amount of you that hate Israel and want to free Palestine, you don't want to just kill a bunch of teenage girls at a mall, right? Like, you'd think that would be a fucked up thing, right? And if you believe it's okay, then you're a fucked up pile of shit, right? That's what I would be saying. But also, if you're sitting there like, yeah, Israel, kill more, then you're kind of a fucking psycho, right? Isn't that what that is? You can be multiple things, right? You can be like, let's help the people of Palestine not die, but fuck Hamas. You deserve death. Eat a bag of shit, you fuck faces, right? Or like the Iranian government. You all deserve to die that are in the government murdering people, but let's separate them from the actual people, right? I mean, you could do that. I hope most of you don't just have a linear style of thinking. I hope most of you have kind of figured out the duality of humanity. Kind of like one of those things, you hate seeing an enemy die, or you hate seeing an innocent person die, but deep down you chuckle, but you don't do it in public when your enemy dies. but your enemy is somebody that's innocent to another person. You see what I'm saying? So if I say, well, I'm glad my enemy died, but oh no, this person, it's a tragedy. Well, when your enemy dies, somebody believes that they were innocent, and oh, it's a tragedy. But I wish this person died, and the person you're wishing death on is innocent to somebody else, but is an enemy and deserves death from you, correct? So it's like everything's a duality. Right? That's why there is very little that's black and white in the world. Unless you if you just look at somebody, you're like, I'm robbing you. Fuck you. Well, then that's pretty clear. Or if you your woman bangs out some dude, that's a choice. That's not some a gray area. It's not, you didn't slip and fall on a cock. It's not really a gray area. But and when it comes to geopolitics, there is, because you can say I have an enemy group that I don't necessarily like that are evil. Exactly. But then they're the enemies of my enemies. So if I placate them with supplies, they'll kill my enemy by proxy. Then when I do the mopping up, it won't be so bad. And we utilize their people rather than our own to die. But then when you use that way, right, it does exist. Then when you use that way about it, then you say, well, now I'm sacrificing people who are in harm's way rather than myself. So does that mean my people are worth more than your people? What's up, Woodman? You see, Woodsman. So you see, there's all these ins and outs of human thought. And is it moral? Is it right? Do you add religious complexities into it? Do you not? And so what's up, America? And so you look at Iran, the realities of the situation are this. The governments of North Korea, Iran, Pakistan, UAE, Saudi Arabia, North Korea, did I already mention them? I think so. Huh?
I don't know.
Soft China and a couple other nations, their government needs to change immediately. South Africa's government, that's clearly a racist government. And so there's several governments like that are oppressive douchebag fuckfaces, and their people that are in charge need to be strung up, executed, and shot. There's not really any way to say that. Why? Because you've killed so many people. Now, there's a geopolitical way of doing it because you can't take on the world, obviously, no matter who you are. But there are several nations that their leadership does not deserve to exist. They need to be killed. Tajikistan, their leadership's a fucking whack job. I don't know what that's all about. I don't know where he fucking gets off. And then there's several more like that. What's up, Jimmy? Then there's these soft kind of governments. You're not really sure if you should kind of be in charge with them or even deal with them. Like Mexico. Clearly Mexico, their government has to be in bed with the cartels. I'm almost sure about it, in my opinion, that some of their elected officials are greasing the skids for cartels. How else would they exist for so long? So you don't really want to work with a government that's kind of low-key allowing sex trafficking and fentanyl trafficking and processing and all this other type of dumbass horse shit. But at the same time, you want ties with Mexico so you can control that from coming over. So it's what do you do with these people? There's a lot of evil in the world. There's rebellion groups, there's terror organizations, Boko Haram, that other piece of shit that's in Africa that I never remember because they don't deserve to live. Hamas, these terrorist groups need to die. Horrible governments need to be taken out. But then you have your shadow horrible governments that people know, it's word on the street, but nobody does anything about it. Like the English government, the American government. It's tough, damn right. It's very high skilled and very stressed and very, very on point with the military. But you could soft say the English government needs to be changed. Most governments in Western Europe or anybody that's involved with the EU, their government generally needs to change. They've been bringing in millions of migrants. They don't listen to the people. It's straining the systems. There's a lot of murder and death that have increased, rapes. Nobody cares, except for the victims, of course. So most of Western Europe's government needs a replacement. Now, I didn't say right or left wing. I just said a different replacement. The United States' government right now, a nice emblem, it would be best considered a Jewish-leaning pedophile ring of capitalist billionaires. That's kind of where I'm at here. It wasn't always like that. The capitalist billionaire pedophile part, maybe. But the United States has embedded itself. Some people do it because it's biblical. Some people do it because of the money situation and the investment, the war, aspect of the military industrial complex situation. You have a lot of that going on. And so you have these lobbying groups like AIPAC. And so there's some schools of thought that says that the Israelis are attempting to dominate through the shadow governments the world to their a Zionist empirical, like a Zionist empire, sort of stretching from Saudi Arabia and central Iraq up to Syria and southern Turkey and over into Egypt. And a lot of the Republicans in the United States, Senate and Congress, are in with AIPAC, which is a designated lobbying group that doesn't fall under the certain lobbying group. Then you have a lot of Democrats involved, but not as many with that. So in total, you have about 115 or 120 House and Senate representatives, maybe 130, that are involved with AIPAC. Now, of course, that's the advancement of the Israeli empire, basically, through our government. And this goes into other governments. It goes into France. It goes not as much in Spain or France, but some. Germany, because of the loss of World War II, and of course England and Ireland's government and the Nordic governments, which have really sold themselves out quite a bit. That being the case, you have people saying, well, free Palestine, and it's because it's anti-Israel. Now, you see, that's where I disagree. My whole thing is I don't like Islam. You see? And so I don't want to work with you. Like, you can be anti-Israeli all you want. That's fair. That's fine. I don't want to work with Muslims. I'm just throwing that out there. I can't stand your fucking dumbass religion. I'm pulling a Christopher Hitchens on this. It's a religion made up by, in my opinion, a schizophrenic and people that believed his nonsense. I believe that he was a pedophile in many rights. I believe almost as many or more people have died from Islam than communism. I can't stand communism or Bolshevism, but when you get into Islam, which is a Sharia spread pedophilic network of beliefs, I don't really know, and that's my opinion on this. And that's how it's always been for me. I don't care if you think it's Christopher Hitchens said the same thing. He was 100% right on that. It's I don't really know it's not that I don't like the people. It's that I don't respect your religion. I think it's a lie. I think it's wrong. I think it's trash. I think there's nothing good for modern society whatsoever outside of oppression of women, beating them, repression of music, arts. Even during World War II, when you look at Germany, you look at Hitler, things like that, they were very into the arts and the advancement of certain styles of arts. These people just try to destroy instruments. They don't want you drinking. They don't want women in public. They want burqas on. No women learning. No women looking out of windows. Stone people to death. It's just a fucking god-awful apostates. We kill them. I don't understand how you could support that and call that a religion of peace. That's like an oxymoron. That's absolutely ridiculous. That's like saying a nuclear weapon going off is a peaceful tool of love. I mean, that's fucking psychotic. That is, I mean, that's clearly nothing but Stockholm Syndrome as a religion. And I know you can bitch and complain about Christianity all you want. I believe Jesus is God. And you can say, oh, well, the repression of the past in Christianity. Yeah, they did horrible things too. But we're talking the modern day. And nothing is more reprehensible than Sharia law, in my opinion. You get Boko Haram, you get Hamas, you get Hezbollah, Islamic Jihad, ISIS. These people that were in ISIS were putting women into cages, burning them alive, drowning them, gutting them, playing in death, essentially. So not killing people, not murdering people for a purpose, right? They were just like, they would pull a trucker over, and I watched the videos. ISIS would pull a trucker over and make them recite verses in the Quran. And even when they did, oh, okay, and they'd walk away, and when they had their back turned, they would just blow their brains out. So they did what they asked, reciting the verses in the Quran, and then they murdered them anyway. Because, fuck it. Right? That's not a religion. That's a group. That's a murder cult. That's a death cult. All those people in ISIS, I don't care if they're turned into beaded fucking glass. If you're going to have real living room, if you want to call it that, right? You don't just take out the Bolsheviks. This is real eugenics we're living with here. This is real eugenics we've been talking about. And that type of thing, if you want to get into brass tacks, you have to go much deeper. And I don't understand why the elites are putting into this eugenics of, like, okay, so frankly speaking, between you and me, the super elite that are bringing in these mass people into Europe, it's a eugenic thing. But their eugenics states that everybody is equal, and you're just harvesting the genome of somebody that's a different color and a different race than you, and trying to add that to the phenotype or whatever you want to call that in order to make a super race of people. But that's not how it works. And they're it's like Bill Gates, for instance. Bill Gates has no degree, yet they're making these decisions in Europe. We're going to bring over a bunch of Muslims and black people from Africa. Then they come into Europe and they expect to mix, and it will create a super race of people. But that's not how it works. That's not how it works. The realities of the situation is that each person carries the past of their own genetics from God knows where. You don't know what the fuck you're bringing into Europe. You don't know what you're inheriting. If you bring in 1 million people from Nigeria, you don't know genetically what the fuck that is. And why is that? Because it's the same with plant. It's not invasive species or anything like that. You're trying to control the offspring capabilities by saying if you did it in a controlled situation where you took every person in the womb and you messed with the genetics of it with CRISPR technology and shit, then you could create designer babies, and they're working on that. But just saying, here's 1 million men from Africa, fuck them and have babies, that causes humongous problems when it comes to later genetics. There's a school of thought that the good outweighs the bad, but it may not be. And I don't want to play with that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. What did that fuckface say?
Oh, he was a Muslim.
No, fuck Islam.
He said, after you can't change my beliefs.
Oh, I don't want to change your beliefs. That's the thing. I just think that, I'm sorry, it's not about Islam. It's not about the people. Salam alaikum. It's not about the people. All right. All the people are fine. I just think the religion is incorrect. But I'm not going to argue about your religion. I have reservations about the prophet than I don't about Jesus. Is that all what it is? No, I know about eugenics. I fucking went to school for anthropology. That's how I know all this. But that's why you don't dabble in this mass eugenics like this. See, when Hitler was around, he tried the Lebensborn Project. And that was basically creating designer babies, but it's not 100% fact. Like a white, blonde-haired, blue-eyed individual is not the peak of humanity. Neither is nobody is. Money is a hell of a drug. Baby, you want to smoke the other joint?
In a minute.
In a minute?
I'm gonna go smoke, see if I'm always in the back yet.
You smoke a pre-roll instead.
Instead of that.
Yeah, we'll save that for us later. Anyway, so you look at this stuff and you say, okay, the reason I don't want mass eugenics like this is I don't want to see an idiocracy form. So let me put it to you this way. Regardless, it doesn't matter the race, okay? So just remember that. So I don't want any of you fuck faces assuming. If you take an IQ of a mass population in the 70s and you try to mass incorporate that through fucking and having children to an IQ of a society with an average of 103, what would you assume would happen? Now, let's assume that the dominant genetics will be the lower IQ, and the recessive genetics will be the higher IQ. So what will happen? What's up, Paul? What will happen is the recessive lower IQ. I don't spread hate. I'm just telling you science. I went to college for anthropology. The lower IQ will take a higher dominant trait than the higher IQ. So if you do that in a long enough timeline, it will make your population more retarded. For example. So if you say I have a dominant IQ of 70, and I take that to a recessive IQ of 102 on average. What's up, me? And then I breed with that continent-wide. The next generation should, now I'm not saying overall, should have a lower IQ by several IQ points. Now, if we do that over and over through generation after generation, within 5, 6, 10 generations, you would expect, now this may not happen, you might have outliers, or you might have God only knows what that unfucks it. But you may have over time a dominant lower IQ that spreads across the world. Meaning within 4 generations, a man with 12 lower IQ points will be breeding with a woman with 8 lower IQ points. And then that will speed the downfall to a certain point. If it heads on long enough, you might have an entire society that's at 70 IQ worldwide. And so what that means is that you would have a general decline in human IQ. Well, it depends with the IQ. Environment is a certain, that's the question. We debated that in college for quite some time. Is it environment or is it genetics? Those are the two situations. Are you smart? It's both, actually. Because if you have very high genetic prominence and you're very intelligent, but you don't have the ability to do it, then you'll never have the opportunity to be smart. So if you're able to do math, but you're never given the tools to learn it, then there's no hope for you. And also, if you give all the tools to somebody, but they have slight brain damage, or the neurons didn't grow in properly, or there's not as much gray matter, or the folds in the, then, smooth brain, you know what I'm saying? So you have both. So it's like, have you ever seen somebody that's naturally skilled versus somebody that's learned the skill? Both are good, but a naturally skilled person is better, even though the learned skilled person is good. So if you have a violinist, one that's very good but struggled, but then one that's very good and their fingers were just designed for speed and they were able to keep the patterns in their head without even knowing musical, or without even knowing how to read music, and then they learned all, yeah. The naturally talented person and the learned talent person will both be good, but the naturally talented person will have something a little better. They'll make moves that the other one can't. Certain finger or hand movements, certain things that'll fire into their mind to make the bow on the string go a certain movement, like that the other person simply doesn't have the capability to ever to do that. So, you want a group of people born that are naturally talented at things. This is where mass migration, heavy abortion, these type of things get into it. Because if you have very intelligent, educated people getting abortions and a bunch of dumb fucks having 40 children, have any of you seen Idiocracy? Where the man and the woman keep trying to conceive and they can't have a baby, and so their line dies off. And then the one dumbass, I'm gonna fuck all you girls, and has 30 kids and their IQ is significantly lower. Just watch the movie Idiocracy. The beginning of how that kind of flows is about where it would be in reality if you fucking took it long enough. And you say, oh my God, in 500 years. Yes, in 500 years. This is not a good thing for Europe. Europe's going to be Islamified. Right? Europe's going to be Islamified. Well, then you have equal talent. That's another thing. And then you start having battles on natural talent, which is even more of a fuck thing. But Idiocracy is like, the beginning of that movie is like exactly where we're at right now. And you also have, I don't know why, they're bringing in a bunch of younger men into Western societies. My opinion, it's to fuck women. They won't bring the women over because they're not allowed to leave their countries, because the Islamic men are allowed to have 7 wives. I think that's fucked up. And so I don't understand, like, this is where it comes into a value system. And everybody can say their own value system, right? Yeah, Canada's fucked, man. Everybody can have their own value system, right? 14 kids, Jesus, you see. And so the bottom line is Western nations and East Asian nations are not having as many children. China's going through a birth collapse. Okay, so they have a lot of people, but that's not sustainable. What is having a lot of kids is Islam. Islam is having a shitload of kids. And what they're going to do is what you're seeing now. My whole thing about Islam is the other people, so like the Western world, most other nations, specifically white Western nations, are very tolerant of Islam. Obviously, as you can see, the white liberal is very tolerant of Islam. I don't get into Islam. You see, that's the whole thing. And some people say, well, that's just hateful. It's really not. I believe in Jesus and I'm a Christian, so I don't really get into Islam because I don't believe you're right. Now, if we take out the religious debate, you're all good people. Well, not all of you. Some of you are fuck faces, but whatever. But I don't believe your fucking religion. I just don't. And you can say, well, I don't believe Christianity too. Yes, but in your religion, Jesus is still a prophet. Isa Messiah, Jesus still judges you in the Quran. So Jesus is still a holy figure in your religion. Muhammad ain't shit to me. And well, that's because Christianity was written before. Yes, and Jesus also said that there wouldn't be any more shit after him. And then you make something and call Jesus a prophet. Clearly, you're lying. And if that's not the case, Muhammad didn't cut the moon in half. I believe he was a sexual immoral, in my opinion. And it just, I don't care for Islam. But I have eaten many meals of Islamic meals. And I've made videos on other social media for Islamic people because they're good people. Just their religion is fucked and I don't know what to do. And I can't force anybody. It would be like the same as if I told you, hey, I believe that Jesus is God, but I think Scientology's full of dumbasses. Well, why is that? Because I think that their religion is wrong. There might be good Scientologists. I have family members who are unfortunately Scientologists. However, as much as I just won't talk, if I know you're a Scientologist, I just won't bring up religion around you. That's basically what it is. So if I had Scientologists around me, they're like, we're at a Scientology party. Great. I would talk about anything else except that. I would talk about the barbecue, sports, well, maybe not that, geopolitics, any other fucking thing except getting you rambling about Scientology. So if I saw a person that's Islamic, I'll say salam alaikum, well, however you pronounce it. I'll eat with you, I'll talk to you, but I think your religion sucks. Now, thank you, my friend. Now, why is that? Well, Christianity and all these others in the modern era are more tolerant. They're benign. Islam will not allow you to spread your religion with them. They will blow up your churches. Look at the Coptics in Egypt. That happens a lot. Look at Iraq back when ISIS or Syria, when they were blowing up churches. You don't have the right to, no. So then on the other token, was it wrong for the guy in New Zealand to go into a mosque and shoot a bunch of people? Well, of course, those were people. So why did they deserve to die? Well, because their religion is spreading. Well, at what point, you either have a peace with it being there, or you have an intolerance for it. Christianity has a peace for these things. Islam has an intolerance for you, and that's my issue. So if Islam lost its recent intolerance, and I know it comes in waves, I would have less of a problem with Islam. But because of the fact that Islam, in my opinion, is considered a threat, then I will treat it as a threat. Now, let's get off of Islam for a minute and talk about this. American optimism slumps to a record low. Yeah, but Christianity, this is recreational weed.
It's Very Hayes.
Very Berry Hayes. So Democrats, Hispanics, and adults report the greatest drop in optimism ever. The percentage of U.S. adults who anticipate high-quality lives in the next 5 years declined to a low of 59.2%, the lowest level since it was measured. Since 2020, future life ratings have fallen 9.1%, projecting to an estimated 4.5 million fewer people who are optimistic about the future. Most of the decline occurred between 2021 and 2023, but the ratings dropped 3.5 points this last year, between 2024 and 2025. America's rating on their current lives have also declined since the pandemic. According to people right now in the United States, 62.1% of people say that their current life is acceptable. And 59.2% say that the future in 5 years will be good. So 41% of people in America are saying that their life is going to be shitty in the next 5 years. So remember that. These results are part of a Gallup National Health and Well-Being Index. We also have it broken by race and politics. So among all adults, in 2021, it was 67.6% belief that the next 5 years would be good. Now it's 59.2, a change of, 4.9%?
I didn't hear what the first one was.
I think so. 3.5 to 4.5, depending on the year. White adults went from 65 to 56. Black adults went from 76 to 67. And Hispanic adults went from 72 to 63%. Democrats went from 69.7% optimistic to 57.1%. Republicans went from 68.3 to 64.4, and independents went from 64.9 to 58.4. Democrats are the least optimistic. Republicans are the most, and independents are the middle. White people are the least optimistic, with Hispanic people second, and black people being the most optimistic. Okay. Overall life evaluation closes out near a record low. As of 2025 fourth quarter, the percentages of American adults who rate both their current and future lives high enough to be classified as thriving dropped to 48%, down 11 points from 59.2%. So 11 more percent of people basically went into poverty, it looks like, in the last couple of years. The highest was widespread vaccinations and the economy opening up. That was at 59.2. Donald Trump was elected at 48.9%. So the United States was already in mass decline because of 3 years of Biden. And then now it's currently at 48.0%, meaning a majority, 52% of people, are unoptimistic about life in the next 5 years. Basically saying the next 5 years is going to be shitty. The United States also got the lowest ever rank of corruption ever reported. That's nice. Let's see. The United States has fallen to its worst ever position in the leading global index that measures corruption. The world's most powerful democracy, which I don't call it a democracy, last year slipped one notch to 29th place out of 182 in transparency and corruption. The International Corruption Perception Index. That's the lowest since 2012 when it was established, or when the index established in 1995 was relaunched using new methods. In its new position, the United States tied with the Bahamas and was beaten out by Lithuania and Barbados and Uruguay. The United States ranking has been on a downward trend over the last 10 years. It took another hit last year when Trump administration gutted the federal government's ability to fight public corruption by pausing investigations into corporate foreign bribery and curtailing enforcement of foreign agent registration law. Since returning to the White House, Donald Trump has Also actively weakened institutions such as the Justice Department and deployed the tools of government against perceived foes. This is from MSN.com. What's up, Paul? The United States overall hits its lowest ever level, extending its downward slide over the past decade, came in 64th, 64 out of 100, I'm sorry. With 0 being highly corrupt and 100 being very clean. We're concerned about the situation in the United States, says the Transparency Institution. Saying that the United States does not seem to be as concerned with corruption. Yikes. What else do we have here? The United Kingdom also achieved its lowest score, down to 70, but it is now 20th, and it's remained unchanged. They also pointed to mega donors to the United Kingdom and United States political campaigns that are fucked. In new news, tariffs cost the average American $1,000 last year. New analysis shows Trump's tariffs have pushed the United States cost of living higher, with consumers bearing most of the burden as the Supreme Court weighs the legality. Fresh analysis from the Tax Foundation has outlined the economic impact of tariffs introduced under Donald Trump's use of the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. The measures, which target trading partners such as China, Canada, Mexico, UK, have been linked to higher cost of living in American households. Research from the Kiel Institute suggests that the financial hit has largely landed on American consumers, who are estimated to have absorbed about 96% of tariff-related prices. The study examined more than 25 million shipment records, covering over $4 trillion of U.S. imports. What's up, America? The findings also add to a wider assessment that points to tariff functionings as a domestic tax. One analysis states the Trump tariffs are the largest U.S. tax increase since 1993. Stream has ended. Seriously? I hope not. Come on, YouTube, be with me. I'm on your side. I'm trying to get a Supreme Court case to go in favor of the people and not Donald Trump and Monsanto. So remember that. I'm on your side. You should promote me. All right? I was just telling you my anthropological knowledge. That's all that was. I went to college, SpongeBob. So I'm not some fucking sicko racist or anything. I'm just telling you what the genetic situation was taught to me long ago. This right here, and I'll talk to you about the pesticide situation here in a second after I get done reading this. Remind me to say that, because that's very important. So believe it or not, me, an independent, will be helping, or at least my videos will be going with Cory Booker to try to stop Donald Trump, even though I did support Trump several years ago. So it's a mixed, weird feeling, because I know the realities I know pesticides are toxic. And this is wrong, but I'll get into why here in a second. So basically they're saying that the tariffs are the largest tax increase on the American people since 1993. Okay, I could see that, I guess. It may not be that bad. They might be blowing that out of proportion, but I could see maybe $500. I could see half of what they're talking about. It has been pretty expensive, though, hasn't it? Overall. Nevertheless, now I want to talk about what we're doing. So on TikTok, I used to have a large following. I got smashed by it, but this girl that was on the New York Times a couple of times and Newsweek and other things like that asked if I still had the video. So I sent her the video and I had to make another one. But here's what's happening. So you guys know what Monsanto is, correct? Monsanto is a company that makes pesticides. Bayer bought them. The company Bayer bought Monsanto. So Bayer/Monsanto is going before the Supreme Court because they're trying to stop lawsuits of people that got cancer from pesticides from suing Bayer Monsanto for compensation or at least medical bills. Now, the Trump administration, unfortunately, is backing Bayer Monsanto. There's currently about 17 to 25,000 lawsuits of people that are trying to sue Bayer for their shit having their pesticides giving them cancer, mostly non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. So Bayer Monsanto says that their products are safe. Now, here's the lawsuit. The lawsuit states that if Bayer Monsanto gets their way, not only will they not have to tell consumers that the product is safe, they don't have to say shit, they also don't have to put labels, and even if independent sources or state governments or even the federal government find out that the pesticide is toxic, they don't have to update that. So let's say you're using Roundup, which is at the center of the lawsuit, and you get non-Hodgkin's lymphoma because of your job, okay? Even in 10 years, if they find out, yeah, that gives cancer, they don't have to fucking notify you or tell you, and you can't sue them even if they know, but you don't. So, the only person that is sponsoring this bill is Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey. So this girl that was on the New York Times that does some kind of political shit, her husband is some kind of copyright lawyer somewhere in D.C., has now taken my videos, and that'll be going to Senator Cory Booker because we don't support the Trump administration on this. Because Donald Trump is supporting doing that. Now, the only reason I'm supporting Cory Booker's bill on this is because the language of the bill is very simple. It's a one-page document. I've read it, and it basically says if a company that makes pesticides you get fucking cancer from them or some horrible sickness, and they know about it and don't tell that it could be a warning, like a cancer warning they put in California on products, then you can sue them. That's all it says. These people say we don't want to put the warning on the bottle. That's it. That's all they say. So the lawsuit is saying basically Bayer Monsanto says even if our product makes you sick, we don't want to label it. All that we're saying is just label it that it causes cancer. So I know to wear fucking gloves and shit, you goddamn retards. And they don't want to do that because it'll cost litigation. They'll have to pay off people that got cancer. So that'll cost them like $4 billion. And then they'll have to change the packaging. And that's too much. So I personally don't give a fuck if it is Cory Booker or fucking Pol Pot or Hitler or whatever it is. It's a good bill because it says, look, if I know my product causes sickness and I give it to you anyway, and I knew it did, and I'm just like, fuck you, pay me, that's not a good thing. What if it wades into food? Because if that can cause you cancer and you don't have to tell anybody, and then you have an increased amount of pesticides on your goddamn products, your food products, your perishable products, your fucking produce, and you go make a salad. I'm going to make a healthy salad. Gotta make a healthy salad, and you get fucking spinach and artichoke and all the goddamn shit. You chop it up. What's up, America? You make your salad. Oh, how do you like your non-Hodgkin's lymphoma salad? How's that sound? You want to have a bite of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma? Because if that's what the pesticides have in it, you'll never know because they're not obligated to tell you. Then what's even worse is down in the state of Florida, they're now saying if you disparage pesticides, then you can have a fucking lawsuit on you. So if you disparage pesticides, so it used to be if you just disparage food products because of their orange and orange juice industry down there. I get that sort of. But if you basically come out and say, oh, this pesticide causes cancer, 17 independent scientists say it does, and then a corporate scientist and the government says it doesn't, well, that's misinformation. You get sued. So you can't even talk about it. They're trying to protect the pesticide industry at the state level and the fucking federal level. Even if it causes cancer, suck my dick. Now that should worry you. Not because of now. Let's say it doesn't cause cancer. Wonderful. Wonderful. It doesn't great. But in 10 years, if you decide to add something to it, you don't have to tell anybody it can cause cancer and no one gives a fuck. Suck my dick. Hey, what's up, bitch ass? Suck my dick, motherfucker. How's that sound?
That whole guy's been trying to get you to say suck my dick all night.
Oh, there we go. Did it, Paul. There we go. Anyway, so that's what it is. And you can mock, talk shit. Not everything has to be partisan. Yes, I'm more of a conservative, though I'm a libertarian. But this bill that Cory Booker has is a solid bill. And I'll get behind it, not because fuck Donald Trump, but fuck Monsanto. You see, I've had a problem with Monsanto most of my life. Which is funny because your family worked for him.
My grandpa.
Yeah, her grandpa, my wife's grandpa worked for him. Anyway, by the way, my wife's my moderator. So if you talk shit and be a dickhead, you're going to be gone. And it's not like we're just going to sit there and allow that. So I have a big problem with poison in my food. I always have. Always have. Retail sales are unexpectedly flat. Disappointing holiday season. Everybody want to know how Christmas was? Well, guess what? Disappointing holiday season. That's what we're looking at right there. December retail sales were flat, falling well short of estimates. Retail sales were flat in December following a 0.6% increase in November. Economists surveyed by Dow Jones had expected a increase of 0.4. On an annual basis, sales rose 2.4% to keep up with inflation as consumer prices rose 2.7%. That's absolutely horrible. It's all over, isn't it? By the way, the stock market going up does not mean that you're rich. I just want everybody to know that. So the stock market going to 50,000, that means the super wealthy are rich. And your 401k went up about 8%. That's what that means. Overall, the stock market is owned 94% of it by the ultra wealthy, the top 1,000 people in America. So you didn't really do that good, all right? So let's stop pretending that that's a marker of everyone's wealth. Consumer activity slowed for December's holiday shopping season amid rough weather, tariff impacts, high inflation, according to the Consumer Commerce Department today. Retail sales were flat on the month following a 0% increase or 0.6% increase, according to numbers adjusted for seasonal but not inflation. Economists surveyed by the Dow Jones had expected an increase of 0.4. Excluding autos, sales were unchanged against the estimate of a 0.3%. On an annual basis, sales rose 2.4%, a considerable step down from 3.3% months before. Sales ex-auto were up 3.3% annually, a measure known as a, quote, control group of sales that excluded a number of items and feeds directly into GDP circulated showed a 0.1% drop for December. 0.1% drop. Usually, and we've been doing ad shit for how many years? The fourth quarter is the highest you'll ever make. So a 0.1% drop for the goddamn month of December is like fucking cutting your dick off. That is absolutely ludicrously bad. And I blame that into a stagnation of innovation. Everybody wants tech devices only. People aren't having as many kids, so the toy market's gone. Private equity has absolutely... Yeah, people are broke as fuck. Private equity has destroyed the retail market. If you want to know why all your retail is going out of business, that's called private equity. They're buying it up and they're cashing it out. You'll never see it again. Gone are the days of the mall and the retail store. You're going to have open, nothing, barren bullshit. But, so picture a world before malls. When did malls start coming in? The 70s, mid-70s, early 70s? I think it was the early 70s. You're going to go back to a world where there was no malls, where retail is dead. Mom and pop stores aren't even going to exist. It's a brave new world with such people in it. It's going to be nothing but fucking drone and deliveries to your mailbox and front door. It'll be a high-tech weather, not going out very much. Oh my God, what sickness. Why does everybody have anxiety? Wet markets. The report puts a downbeat end to an otherwise solid year for shopping activity, with higher-end consumer spending briskly through much of 2025. They were probably buying all their Christmas presents through the whole year. The shopping pace failed to keep up with inflation as consumer prices rose at 2.7%. For December, multiple categories posted losses, while only a few showed notable gains. Miscellaneous retailers and furniture stores declined 0.9%, while clothing and accessories declined 0.7%. Electronics and appliances dropped 0.4%. Online outlets rose 0.1%, while building materials and garden centers saw the strongest at 1.2%. So people do not want to be on electronics anymore. They're telling you right here, building materials and garden centers are the highest gains. People are done with technology. They hate this AI shit. They want to go build a garden, and they want to go build with their hands and do real shit. They want to be off of social media. Look, I only have 5 fingers, not 6. Isn't that fun? This is a K-shaped economy, which I've been saying that since Trump came into office, with strong spending at the top and much more cautious in the middle and lower incomes, said Heath Long, chief economist at Navy Federal Credit Union. Retail sales were flat in December, driven by soft spending on autos, home furnishing, appliances, and clothing. These items are hit hard by tariffs in 2025, and consumers shifted their spending elsewhere. Fourth quarter economic activity otherwise was strong, with the Atlanta Federal Reserve data tracker pointing to a GDP rise of 4.2%. However, that number could be lowered by Tuesday following the retail numbers. Consumer spending makes up more than 2/3 of all economic activity, which is why you don't put your fucking faith in the rich only. What's wrong with people? The report comes days ahead of closely watched non-farm payroll counts for January. Economists expected to show an increase of just 55,000 jobs following the 50K in December. However, several prominent Wall Street firms say they're looking for lower numbers. I was going to look at about 30,000 because I saw lower numbers as low as 22,000. In other economic news, Tuesday, the employment cost index posted an adjusted 0.7% increase for the fourth quarter of 2025. Bureau of Labor statistics below the 0.8% according to the Bureau of Labor statistics, below the 0.8% forecast. For the year, total compensation costs rose 3.4%, or a bit above the inflation rate. The quarterly rate was the slowest since 2020. So if you look at 2.7% inflation and you got paid 3.4% more, you made 0.7% of a raise. So everybody I hope you liked your raise. Everybody made an average of a 0.7% raise. Fantastic. Wonderful job. Jesus fucking God. So, honey, how'd you like that 0.7% this year? What are you going to do with what you going to do? You got to get you a pack of cigarettes with it? Couple cups of coffee? Million mentions of Trump. DOJ is hiding the Epstein documents. Pedo never barred from Mar-a-Lago. And apparently there's now tapes. Howard Lutnick admits to visiting Epstein Island, and some people say he lied about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Democrat lawmakers are exposing 6 powerful men in redacted Epstein files that are co-conspirators for child sex trafficking. One is Lex Wessner, and another is from the United Arab Emirates royal family. And those are the 2 that I'm aware of. Jeffrey Epstein directed aid to obtain hidden video camera footage. So now there's hidden video footage out there. Wonder who that is. Wonder who the hidden video footage is. Wonder what kind of chomos they got there we could shoot. Members of Congress are leaving at historical rates. Thank fucking God. People are like, it's toxic. Yeah, get the fuck out, you pieces of shit. 14-year-old girl zip-tied during Idaho raid by ICE. And MAGA billionaires made lot. Thank you, BG. What's up, America? Yeah. That's the first gift I've had in a couple of days, isn't it? Well, thank you for the gift. And don't forget the thumbs up. And MAGA billionaires made billions on Mexican labor. 7 out of the top 10 MAGA companies, or people that are MAGA leaning as far as their CEO, made money on illegal Mexican labor. Fantastic. Jesus Christ. Pride flag taken down from the Stonewall Monument. Woman shot dead during an argument. Woman shot dead by her dad during a Trump argument. Well, I'll tell you what. Apparently, he is labeled as one of the diddler. Colombian president claims to have escaped an assassination attempt. CIA is back. CIA is back. And Iran propaganda as Benjamin Netanyahu meets with Donald Trump. We talked about that earlier. I have a lot of fucking videos too. America using mobile launchers for Patriot missiles in Qatar. So that happens. That happened. More oil tanker seizures. And Germany is pulling away from the United States as far as ties are concerned. Also, images have been released of masked men armed outside of Nancy Guthrie's house. $6 billion Bitcoin ransom is still unpaid. And Britney Spears sells the rights to her music for $200 million. Thank you, BG. Yeah. By the way, if anybody's out there, don't forget to become a member. Kurt Cobain's death was a homicide, some now are saying. Really? We're going to check that story out. I didn't figure he'd be eating a gun. Kurt Cobain's death was a homicide. Shocking new forensic investigation questioned the suicide. Kurt Cobain's death shocked fans and sent ripples through the music world. Yeah, it was Courtney Love, wasn't it? But decades later, Kurt Cobain's final moments are under new scrutiny. The Nirvana lead singer died April 5th, 1994, aged 27, from a self-inflicted gunshot wound from a shotgun in his Seattle home. Now, an unofficial private sector team of forensic scientists have put fresh eyes on the autopsy, bringing in Bryant Burnett, a specialist who previously worked on cases involving overdoses and gunshot trauma. Independent researcher Michael Wilkins, who worked with the team, told the London Daily Mail that after just 3 days of looking into evidence with fresh eyes, this is a homicide. We've got to do something about it. That's what people were saying. He used his toe. She said the conclusions followed an exhaustive review of autopsy findings, which reveal signs inconsistent with instantaneous gunshot death. Peer-reviewed paper presented 10 points of evidence suggesting Cobain was confronted by one or more assailants who forced a heroin overdose to incapacitate him before one of them shot him in the head, placed the gun in his arm, and left behind a forged suicide note. There are things in this autopsy that go, well, wait, this person didn't die very quickly of a gunshot blast. Wilkins pointing to organ damage associated with oxygen deprivation. The necrosis of the brain and liver happens in an overdose. It doesn't happen in shotgun death. Burnett has decades of experience analyzing crime scenes and interpreting complex evidence. Yep, drugged him and shot him. Courtney Love. That's what I would say. He has earned national recognition for his expert analysis in the controversial cases like Marine Colonel James Sabal death and investigation into Billy Joe Johnson Jr. with his meticulous forensic reconstruction challenged official findings. A spokesman for the medical examiner's office told the Daily Mail King County Examiner's Office worked with the local law enforcement, conducted a full autopsy, and followed all the procedures in coming to the determination of the manner of death as a self-taking. Our office is always open to revisiting, though, if new evidence comes to light. So that's good. They're not assholes. Spokesman for the Seattle police told the Daily Mail they are not reopening the case. Our detective concluded that he died by self-harm, and this continues to be a position held by the department. The Daily Mail reviewed Cobain's autopsy, which described how his body was found on the floor of the greenhouse above his garage. Examinations of the miscellaneous papers in the left front pocket of Cobain's jeans reveal some writing in black ink reading Remington 20 gauge 234 shells or shorter setup light shot 10-888-925. The June 20, 1994 autopsy reads, Wilkins said to me, it looks like someone staged a movie and you wanted to be absolutely certain it was a suicide. The receipt for the gun in his pocket, the receipt for the shells in his other pocket are lined up with his feet. New forensic report noted that Cobain's sleeves were rolled back. The heroin kit was found several feet away, containing capped syringes, cotton buds. So couldn't he have just done, like, shot up and then blew his brains out? Like, he shot up and then, like, did it before, like, you know what I mean? So it could have still been in his system. And it looked like, yeah, I mean, that's what I would argue. I mean, read my post. Sorry, David. I mean, more, what did he say? I mean, more than likely, I would say Courtney Love probably drugged him and blew his brains out. But what do I know? She's just a psycho. And, sorry about that. And that's basically, Russia is near the capture of a key Ukrainian city. How can I do anything when I'm high? Well, it's definitely a learned task, if you want to call it that. And New York Mayor Zohran Mamdani faces a showdown with the New York Police Department as it's revealed that police used fake social media accounts to spy on New Yorkers. So New York City's Democrat Socialist Mayor Zohran Mamdani appears to be heading towards his first collision with the police, as it was revealed that the force had been secretly using fake social media accounts to spy on targets. The covert practice described as...
No, he wasn't talking to you. He was talking about Kurt Cobain.
Oh. The covert practice is described by civil rights group as digital version of well-documented infiltration of Muslim communities post 9/11 has sparked outrage among activists. As state legislator, Mamdani fought to ban such technologies known as sock puppet accounts. Now the mayor in charge of the nation's largest police force, he's responsible for overseeing and disclosing specifics on surveillance technology. The controversy erupted last week when the police department quietly published long-mandated disclosures online, revealing for the first time that it has for years used sophisticated software from California's firm Intrepid to create fictitious online personas to track down violent criminals and terrorists. Mayor Mamdani punted on the issue when contacted by the Daily Mail, quote, "We are gathering more information about these tools and look forward to discussing them and their uses with the police department," Mamdani's spokesman said. Mamdani looks like a guy that would like threaten someone's family. Is that just me? I don't know. And of course, we could go over the Epstein files, but and Caroline Leavitt confirms president told a brazen lie about Trump's station name. So that's fun, whatever we have there. And most of the news right now is covering the Epstein files. I'll get into that tomorrow. I don't feel like doing that tonight. There's a lot to be said about it. There's a lot going on with the Epstein files. God damn, that's all I have to say. You don't even want to know how bad some of it is. Some of it's worse than I've probably ever seen in many things. And that's including cartel beheadings. So Alabama learns her fate after pushing her love rival off a cliff to her death. Well, and Walmart shopper says she was stalked by Walmart workers because of her golden retriever being off leash. Service dog. They probably wanted to pet it. That's my guess. Anyway, so it's 9:09. That's the news. I've got a couple more videos to make on TikTok. I'll put the videos over here tonight. I need to bring that over there. I know, that's the thing. And I was talking about to my wife. I was like, should I go back to TikTok? And I was like, no, because then I already told people I wouldn't come back. And I don't know. I have another account on TikTok, Sup America, and Sup America 2. So let me tell you this. So like I was on the toilet this morning, and I was taking a big government, and I was on my phone, and there was a live stream of this girl, and she was just like getting ready in the mirror or whatever the fuck, right? And she said, "Stop reporting my lives. This is the 5th violation, and it's been overturned." And so the girl wasn't talking. That's my thing. The girl wasn't talking about politics. She was just some chick putting makeup on, and people just go on and they just report all the live streams. So there's just these pieces of shit out there that's their entire job. Is they're just like, well, I'm just going to keep reporting because I don't like live streams. Hey, what's up, America? How you doing, Taiwan? We love Taiwan. We love China. We love Asia. And I have a video, and I have my page up there, Sup America 2. I've changed all my names to Sup America. So this is Sup America here on YouTube, at Sup America 1. Is it at Sup America? It's at Hello. What, on this one? No, I changed it on this one. I couldn't change it on Twitter. This page I'm on right now is at Sup America 1. Because remember, there was an at Sup America from 10 years ago.
Oh.
Anyway, so I changed my to at Sup America 1 here. My name's Sup America. Hell yeah, thank you for being here, my friend. I need to put up a lot more content. I've been at TikTok. I had 330,000 followers, and they kind of fucked me. So yeah, I need to go to Asia. I've been wanting to go to Asia for years. I lived in Australia. I knew a lot of people from Asian countries. The problem is the price from America to most Asian countries is so fucking high now, and I don't understand why. Like, Japan is ridiculously super high right now. Taiwan is high. Even China's high. China used to be cheap as fuck to go to. You could get to Hong Kong for like $600. It is like more, it's double that. For me and my family to go to Japan, it would be like $5 grand, $6 grand. It's like ridiculous. Singapore used to be cheap to go to. Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, Taiwan, South Korea used to be cheap as fuck. Everybody's going to Indonesia now. Yeah, and I don't understand why. It's ridiculous. Like, and everybody's going to like, I want to go to I want to go to Taiwan. Everybody says don't eat stinky tofu. I digress. But you see, I liked Anthony Bourdain a lot. So I always wanted to do this. Like, I never wanted to be in politics. I just got pissed off because prices were too high and they called me a Nazi and a communist. So apparently I'm a commu-Nazi, even though I'm clearly not. But like, I wanted to go, like there were so many places I wanted to go to, and it's not even that I had kids. I have a passport. My whole family does. We could go to these places. There's just no money coming in. And it's not even the social media. YouTube's very hard. It's just the overall prices. Hell yeah, man. Dude, I want to get some Taiwanese liquor. Do you guys make rum over there? You have sugar cane. Of course you make rum, right? Look, so here's my thing. I like products from places that they shouldn't exist. Like, I got rum from the mountains of Colorado. The Breckenridge Distillery, which they didn't respond to me, by the way. The Breckenridge Distillery was an absolute, hell yeah, man, I'll definitely do it. Breckenridge Distillery, rum made in a mountaintop, right? Wine from the desert, type of shit like that. That's what I'm looking for. Exotic things that are very difficult to find. That's what I like. Mostly food. So not like, because I like archaeology and I like food. Too much, apparently. I'm getting fat. But there's one thing out there, if anybody ever wants to send me, and if I ever get popular or famous, I'll get a P.O. box. It's a Namibian medicinal liquor called Devil's Claw. And it's made from a rare tree, I believe. And that right there, baby, that is the shit. There are so many countries I want to go to. Most of them not Islamic. Not gonna lie. I don't really have a desire to go to India. I've been to Canada multiple times. Niagara Falls is nice. Vancouver's nice. There's a lot of heroin addicts there. And Windsor, Ontario, I go there for food and stuff. Sometimes I would consider that the toilet. But I would consider Toronto. I hate Toronto. I've been to Toronto. Called Devil's Claw. I'll think of it. If I'm telling you, man, if you do, I'm like, it's a hard to find drink. Even when you look at like exotic stores in America, like in Los Angeles and New York and shit, it's always sold out. It's nearly impossible to find. They're like, dude, I can't. And it comes from, like, hold on, let me see if I can find it. Like, you have to special look it up. Yeah, it's from the Erongo Mountain Winery. The Erongo Mountain Winery in Namibia. Teach English in Japan, honey. I would do it. See, I've got a kid in high school. So one kid right now is in her first semester of college. So I've been taking her to college off and on quite a bit. My youngest kid is in high school right now, and she's a freshman. So as soon as you get into college, me and my wife can start moving, and that's another thing. So I'm going to have to do this quickly because old people don't get famous on social media for good things. Yeah, here to Erongo Mountain Winery in Namibia. They have Devil's Claw. This is the drinks they have. They have Devil's Claw, which is a unique liqueur, but it's got 35% alcohol. So don't just think of it as a liqueur. but it's a unique liqueur made from 100% pure devil's claw, harvested by the Bushman people. Devil's claw, together with a handful of other herbs that makes the essence a powerful delight. This uniquely Namibian product, with only the finest natural ingredients, can be enjoyed both as an aperitif or digestive. Best served chilled or on ice. Taste the power. I know, that's the thing. That's what I'm talking about, Titan there. Is it
Ting ting.
Ting Ting? That's what I'm talking about, Ting Ting. If I spent the time I'd spent on TikTok over here, eventually I'll get bigger. Everybody subscribe if you can. But they also have another product called Gravino. And this is from this same winery. They have Mbe Cream, and they also have Jewel. So Gravino is a Namibian aperitif, a perfect union of slightly fermented wine with the best of spirits. Then you have Mbe Cream, and I'll get to the Jewel in a minute. Mbe Cream, this is only 17%. It's an indigenous Mbe fruit, or the indigenous Mbe fruit. Has a very special place in the heart of Namibians. The Mbe fruit is a means of income for rural women in north of Namibia who carefully collect and sort the berries. The spirit-based cream liqueur is a handmade natural product. Its taste and smell originates from the wild Mbe fruit, a true product of Namibian nature, best served chilled or on ice. So that's a different one, but in Namibia it'd be hot as fuck. So, yeah. So this is shit like the king and queens are probably. Then you have the Jewel, spirit from wine distillate. So let me just express this again. So you know what weed distillate is? Listen to this. Spirit from wine distillate. So it's wine distillate that is turned into a spirit. What? What's up, Topamax? What's up, America? So the Jewel from the Orongo Mountain Winery in Namibia is a spirit from wine distillate. This precious masterpiece, achieved through multiple distillation, matured and refined over years in selected oak barrels in our cellar, enjoy the perfect harmony of powerful spirits with an elegant fruity aromas. Yeah, I know. TikTok. Yeah, I'm sick of TikTok. Like, I still do videos over there, but like my live streams are here. And so I'll tell you what, Ting Ting, I have been putting up, and I know it's going to be ramping up. I'm just waiting for it. The protests, huge videos. I had a video with like 180,000 or something, or 120 or 150, whatever. And that right there, I already know for a fact, like, protests are the cut, because I know where to find protests off-site that won't show up on YouTube. And the secret to that is to take TikTok video protests and film it on YouTube vertical. Oh my God, but it's absolutely fantastic. But that's what it is. Anyway, you also have Devil's Claw Gin, by the way. And that's by Namgin, produced by the Devil's Claw fruit, but is a premium gin. You also have Cooper and Cole Distillery Gin from the Namibian-based distillery. You also have herbal teas from it. Yeah, what's up, America? And so it's not that I had an account of 330,000. The problem is with TikTok has nothing to do with TikTok exactly. Like, I like TikTok. I like YouTube because they offer gifts here now, but I obviously don't make very much on it, and that's whatever it is. But TikTok it's snappier, but the problem is with it is the people on TikTok. TikTok is a mostly automated system that responds to multiple accounts falsely reporting people. So there's no limit on how many accounts you can have on TikTok. On Google, I think it's 5 emails at a time. So what they do is you'll have people on TikTok that will have 20 false accounts. So they'll have 2 main accounts and then like 18 burner accounts. Or what they'll do is the phone box farms, but that's rare. That's more for views and gain. And so what they'll do is they'll sit there and they'll scroll through so they'll go on one account, find you, and then fuck with you. Then they'll switch over, look you up, find you, and falsely report you. Then go on another one, and they do it over and over and over until they inevitably get your account banned. Not because an actual person is sitting there watching and moderating it and saying, oh, I got this report and this guy did nothing wrong. And like YouTube does, where over time, it basically makes those accounts useless and they're like, we don't trust you. This right here, what it does is tequila. I can't do tequila. I have to do rum or any kind of exotics. What TikTok does is their algorithm responds to point systems. So if somebody falsely reports your live streams over and over and over and over, they deduct points like a credit system. All right, that's how it works. So all you have to do is just gang stalk somebody long enough, and they'll inevitably be destroyed on TikTok. YouTube picks up other markers that makes it like, okay, this is kind of, you're clearly fucking with this person, but TikTok doesn't do that. So then you do things and say absolutely nothing, and then it's just a fucking mess over on TikTok. And TikTok has a very high profit margin that you can make, and you can get to a lot of people. But then after America gained the app, there's now, and this is by new reports that came out just a couple of days ago that I read, that was saying that it's now looking like a great deal of TikTok was just fake bots. So like accounts that have like 100 and, or 500,000 followers, about half of them would be just fake. So you weren't really talking to 500,000 real people. So I had 330,000 followers. So mine would be about 112,000, 115,000, which is still formidable, but whatever. Anyway, so that's the news. So don't forget to follow me here on YouTube and all the platforms. Follow me on Sup America 2 and Sup America on TikTok. Follow me Sup America on X, and follow me Sup America here. So don't forget to subscribe, share, like, hit the notification button. I'll make some more videos tonight on TikTok on both accounts. And if you don't like me, I'm going to try to stream about 7 o'clock or earlier every night if possible. Oh, and follow me on Wu Tai One Nostalgia. Most of you don't know this. I have an account with 250 or 60,000 followers already on YouTube. It's just not monetized. I got rid of all my old content because now I'm going to try to get it monetized. So I'm only going to play games over there. I'm going to play nostalgia games. It's called Wu Tai One Nostalgia. WUTAII1 Nostalgia. Like the mountain in China or Final Fantasy VII, Mount Wu Tai One Nostalgia. Follow me over there, and I'm going to start playing games. And whether it monetizes or not, I don't have the hours because, well, I did have the hours, but all my content was stolen bumpers and stolen pieces of nostalgia because that's why I made it. But now I'm going to play old games because fuck it, we're going to stick to nostalgia and they can suck my dick. Even though I know a lot of it will be copywritten music, I'll have to overlay it and it's going to piss me off, but whatever. It is what it is. So we'll go balls deep into that and see what happens. So don't forget to subscribe, share, like, hit the notification button. If you don't like it, suck my dick, and we will be back tomorrow.